Damn, girl, you got cursed for days. It's okay. I like him chunky like you. Hello guys, welcome to today's episode of the Desa Diaries, Confessions of a Mad Fat Black Woman. So hi guys, welcome to today's episode of the Desa Diaries, Confessions of a Mad Fat Black Woman. As you guys already know by now, my name is Desa, and as you can clearly see, I am a woman of colour, I am a larger lady, and I have, for want of a better word, issues with my mental health. So I thought it was about time that we addressed the elephant in the room, guys. Spoiler alert. It's me. I'm the elephant in the room. Hi! So yeah, today we're going to be discussing a bit more about the fat side of the mad fat black woman. I've been focusing a lot of my videos mainly on the mad side at the moment, and obviously this channel is supposed to be about, you know, breaking stigmas down and lots of stuff around mental health and such and whatever. But often, sometimes, you know, it is linked to such as well, and obviously I'm trying to do it from a different angle. I'm obviously doing things about mental health and breaking stigmas down, but also how I, as a woman of colour, and as a you know, a plus size woman in a modern world, sort of deal with my sort of mental health on a regular basis. And like I say, it is kind of linked. Most people, when they find out that I have depression, put two and two together, and they assume that I am depressed because I am fat, but in fact I am fat because I am depressed. But it's like I say, I haven't always been this way. I haven't always been at this size, which is a shocker to some people as well. Some people tend to assume that you've been fat like for your whole life, when I actually haven't. I'll try and find some pictures and put them up on my blog, and maybe put some on here and such. But there is kind of a bit of a gap between photos. So obviously I was my mum's eldest, so there's lots of pictures of me as a child running around, you know, because everything I did was amazing because I was the first. And then, like, in my teen years, there's kind of a bit of a gap in terms of, like, full length pictures, which you'll kind of see now in, if you look through, like, my social media and such, you'll see that I don't have many full length pictures because they scare me, because I don't like seeing my body. So yeah, there's a bit of a gap in between that, but you can obviously just look through my, if you look through my profile pictures, I slowly put on weight because I've lost a little bit, and then I lose weight. So like, if you look from the start of my photos, I put on weight, and then I sort of lose weight as I get to, by the time I'm still pretty big. So yeah. So yeah. So like I say, just talking about basically myself in terms of how I deal with sort of my size and such on a regular basis. Like I say, I haven't always been this size. Guess where the big thing started with me in terms of my disordered eating, and I am the first person as well to hold my hands up and say, yes, I am fat, and yes, I have an unhealthy relationship with food. And I also want to put this out there as well as a sort of like disclaimer. Disordered eating isn't just what people think when you say eating disorder. You say the words eating disorder, people automatically think bulimia or anorexia, and it's not. Any relationship that anybody has with food that is not, I am hungry, I need to eat, is an unhealthy relationship, and it is disordered eating. So anything else other than that is, like I say, is completely disordered. So I guess mine sort of like started with my sort of sort of journey, sort of like relationship with food and such, was when I started to put on weight was when I was about 17, which kind of when I kind of found, I guess that's not really true. I didn't find, you know, that I could sort of do sort of control measures or such, or not control as the case might be, with food. I've always sort of had that sort of relationship with food, which I'll go into a little more detail in a minute, but it kind of accelerated a lot in my final year of college. So when I was like 16, 17 sort of thing, or 17, 18 really. And a lot of things happened to me during that time that sort of, you know, impacted my mental health and such, some of which I'll talk about, not today, because like I say, it's a long story, it's a different thing, but some of which I'll talk about, some of which I won't talk about, just because, like I say, it's all personal to me. This is all a bit odd, I've never really spoken about this before, other than to like a therapist or whatever, but yeah, I thought it was important to sort of get this kind of out there, sort of thing. So yeah, so I sort of went through this I went from being this very overconfident child who thought she was amazing at literally everything, to this teenager who was very cripplingly, you know, insecure and such. And I went to a performing arts college, and even though I would say I was definitely still slim when I left school. I would say that I started getting a little bit, not chubby, but a bit bigger when I was in college. I was still slim, but I definitely, like, afterwards, that's when I started putting a lot of weight in. That's where I've sort of struggled from there, sort of thing. Like I say, I went to performing arts college, and obviously there were people that were thinner than me, and that was something that was quite hard to deal with, everything that was going on at the moment in time as well. So the way that I sort of manage myself and my controls and such is I go from one extreme to the other, because it's just a running theme with me, isn't it, guys? One extreme to the other. So I either overeat or I undereat. I don't really have an in between. It's kind of hard for me to explain this in terms of why I kind of binge. I will write a blog on this because it's easier for me to sort of write down these things, because I'm getting a little bit embarrassed. So I either overeat or undereat, and that's sort of my experience with that. And it's something that's very personal to me. Like I've mentioned before in videos, I don't think anybody that I know has ever seen me binge before. But like I say, what I will try to do is I'll try to overcompensate by exercising a lot and not eating, which is bad. Both of those things are bad, and I know that I do have unhealthy relationship in terms of food and such. But yeah, so like I say, so the crux of it started when I was sort of 17 and such, and so I started eating a lot more. And then I took a year out from uni. So I took a year out before I went to uni. And then again, something quite traumatic happened to my family. So I spent literally my first year of uni in my room eating chicken nuggets. Yeah. And I just kept putting on more and more and more weight. And then I got through, and it was by this point it was sort of a vicious cycle. And I just kept putting on more and more weight. And I have up until like this sort of point here. So I literally went from the age of 18 to the age of sort of 21 in the space of that sort of year. Like I sort of like ballooned in like terms of like going from like the size that I was. I think I went like 4 sizes up. So in that space of like time, but it was like very, very kind of quick. Obviously that's not good. I don't when I sort of go through this video and such, and I talk about what I'm talking about now, I don't want people to think that I'm being sort of an advocate for unhealthy relationships with food and such, because I don't agree with it at all. I don't think what I do is correct. Obviously it's how I deal with it. I don't think it's something that's, you know, it's something that people should try and do and try in terms of like to try and cope and such. Obviously everybody's different, and obviously I won't judge anybody for dealing with, if they deal with it, if they've generally got a problem and such. But I don't agree. I don't agree when people say that obviously, you know, all fat people are lazy and Some people actually generally do have a problem. At the other same, I don't agree with people saying that people that are really, really skinny necessarily have an anorexia or a problem, whatever. But there are the two people that there are obviously two different spectrums as such. And what's quite annoying for somebody who does have disorders eating and has to see somebody about it and still sort of deals with it on a day-to-day basis and goes through it a lot, is the fact that there is a lot of sympathy towards people who are skinnier and who have disordered eating or eating disorders. What our initial reaction is as people is we see somebody who is clearly, because again we don't know people's stories, clearly anorexic, and we go, oh my god, that's so sad, that poor person. They obviously have really low self-esteem. They obviously they obviously don't love themselves, for that they obviously are going through a lot. We see somebody who's fat, and our initial reaction is to be like, oh, look at that fat person, they're fucking really lazy, obviously don't eat and everything else, and you know, what's sort of negative sort of impact and such. And this is something that I feel really, really strongly about. I'm going to get a little bit upset because the media and society in general think it's okay to sort of degrade big people and put them down. Now, it's hard enough to be in a fat body, let me tell you, without hearing all these things and whatever. Simon, when we first started going out, we used to get very angry because sometimes he didn't realize that sometimes I can literally go out of the street and I wouldn't do anything to anybody, and people will whisper things under their breath, or laugh at me. I once had an old woman say to a friend, "Oh, look at the size of her," and and Simon nearly turned around and was going to say something. I was like, "I'll just leave it, forget it. It happens. It is." Now, like I say, I've had children laugh at me. I have been out with friends, and it's hard enough for me to go out sometimes anyway, to sort of build myself up and get myself in a confident sort of state to feel like I look good enough to go out. I've been out with friends, and people have said things to me like, I was once out with my friend with a gay village, and some gay guy approached, she was like, "Oh, big batty girl," and it's like, I was like, A, racist, B, rude, but also it was like actually quite, it could takes you off guard sort of thing, because I was having a really good time and that sort of thing anyways. But I also wanted to talk about, obviously this year there's been a lot of media attention on two plus size women who have had weight loss journeys. So we've got Rebel Wilson and Adele, and I think props to them. Like, it's great, obviously, that they've lost the weight and everything else. Like I say, I will not say that that it's healthy to be, massively overweight and such. Obviously, if you're overweight and you can still do things and everything else, you're healthy and such, then that's fine. Obviously, if you're morbidly obese and such and you need help, then you do need help. But I say on the same spectrum, if you are so thin that you're passing out, then obviously there's something wrong with you. So it works both ways. It's not just one or the other. But the main reason I wanted to sort of comment on the Adele and Rebel Wilson thing is, I, as a big person, I didn't see that much positive energy regarding their appearance when they were big. But now all of a sudden they've lost Adele's lost 7 stone, and I can't remember how much Rebel Wilson's lost. I'm like, oh my god, they're amazing. They look so amazing. And for me, it's a bit of a joke, really, because these women, they were big women, yes, but that doesn't, to me, mean that they were any less attractive. I think, I've always said this about Adele, I have the biggest girl crush on Adele ever. I love the fact that she looks like one of them Botticelli paintings from the Renaissance. And with those those curvier women, that's what I love that. And obviously she's an amazing singer, and she swears like a sailor, and I love that about her. It's brilliant. And Rebel Wilson, she's hilarious as well. She's a really great actor. But yeah, it seems like all of a sudden these women have been validated and they've now all of a sudden sort of seen, because they are now thin, and they're now deemed attractive. They're now deemed as acceptable by the media and by society, and I don't like that. I don't like that at all. I feel like there's a lot of stereotypes regarding big women. People, especially big back women, people particularly think I'm supposed to act a certain way and behave a certain way, and because I'm always like, hey girl, hey, and all the time, then people are a bit confused by that. And people often assume as well with bigger black women that we exude confidence. And for me, yes, I am confident in who I am as a person sometimes, but I'm definitely not confident about my appearance. I have multiple panic attacks about the way that I look on a day-to-day basis. Right now, filming myself is probably the hardest thing that I've ever had to do. I'm just constantly analysing my face whilst I'm I'm gonna cry, whilst I'm talking to you guys. So I feel like people just assume that that we're okay in terms of and whatever, and it is. But at the same time, it is okay to be fat and to love your body. I'm going to talk about one of my favourite artists, just very briefly, Lizzo, who I absolutely love. She's fucking beautiful. Sorry about swearing, but she's absolutely stunning. She's very talented, and she doesn't give a shit. I love it about her. And then she made a statement saying about, obviously she was the first big black woman on the cover of Vogue. And she made a statement, I can't remember exactly what it said, but something along the lines of somebody saying to her that she's trying to normalise being fat. And she said, I'm not normalising being fat, being fat is normal. And it's this whole thing of, like I say, of where we put people that are fat and unhealthy in one corner, and we put people that are thinner and healthy in another corner, and it's the sympathy behind it. Obviously, again, I have to keep repeating this. I'm not advocating saying that it's okay to be unhealthy and to be massively overweight to the point where you're not, having a good life or whatever. I know that I am overweight, and I try to do things to compensate for that. I am quite active for a big person. I've not been as active as I have this year, and I've put on more weight this year. Before this, I used to go to the gym quite regularly. My best friend, who is a PT, will vouch for me. Before this year, I could probably run rings around her in the gym in terms of some things. I am aware that I am big, and I am aware that I am overweight, and I am aware that it's impacted my health, and I am trying to make steps towards that. I know that. At the same time, that's at the same time, I don't think it's okay to be ridiculously thin and use things like laxatives and binging, and then throwing up and purging or not eating or diet pills and all that stuff. I don't think that's okay either. There's two spectrums. You can't have the same for one and the same for the other. But for some reason, because somebody is fat, it's okay to comment on their life. We don't comment on how thin people are. It's not seen as much. We don't comment on how unhealthy their lifestyle might be. That for when somebody skips meals. I once worked in a place, and this girl came back after some time away on holiday, and she'd lost quite a fair bit of weight. And somebody said to her, "Oh my God, how have you lost all the weight?" And she, without batting an eyelid, said, "I just took a load of drugs to just dance it all off," and that was okay. And people laughed at that. But if I came back after some time away of our holiday, came back really big, people are like, "Oh my God, what happened to her? Like, she must be like really like whatever." So it works both ways. It 100% works both ways. And I want to again also go back to Lizzo and such, because she just loves herself for who she is, and that's important. As a big person, do not feel that you are not validated because you are big. You are a person, and you are allowed to love your body if you are big. I used to think that because I was big, I would never have any sort of lasting relationship, because nobody would ever want somebody in this body. And that's not true. Like I say, everybody has different styles and whatever. I used to, I sort of, over my years of uni stuff, I always use this phrase about I became my boobs, because I have big boobs, as you can clearly see, and I thought that was the only thing that was attractive about myself, the only thing that anybody would find attractive about me, because my body was so disgusting and I hated myself. And I still obviously going through this journey of where I don't like myself, but being with Sai, and also just how I've grown as a person, has shown me that I can still be, validated as a person, and I can still be deemed as attractive. To some people. I mean, not to everybody. And what I've learned as well is, I may not personally think I'm attractive, but somebody else might think I'm attractive, and that might be the same for you, going forward and such, or whatever. As well, like there's this whole thing I want to talk about, which is my pet hate, which is fat fetishes. And I fucking hate this. Sorry about swearing. It really, really grind my bloody gears. There's this whole thing of fat fetishes at the moment, where I've had men. I don't have this as much as more because I don't go out anymore. But again, ask my best friend, the PT, about how what happens on a night out with us, and she'll say that Hadisa gets lots of attention. And the reason I get attention is, I always say to her, is because of my boobs, because they're big and they're just there, and whatever I wear you can just see them, and I'm fed up of trying to hide them, because I shouldn't have to hide them. It's my body, and if you don't want to look at it, then don't fucking look. And B, I'm sick of trying to hide myself as a person. This is who I am, and that's just that, and that's just it. But she'll always say, I get loads of attention because that's what, A, because it's because of my boobs, and B, it's because I'm fat. And the reason that I get attention because I'm fat is because there's a big thing around where not all men, not all women that do this, but like I say, obviously I'm straight, so men seem to see that I'm straight, obviously, and it'll come to me and they make a sort of beeline for me. And they think because I'm fat, I have a low self-esteem, and that I will be so thankful for the fact that they've given me attention. So they speak to me derogatively, and they think it's okay to just like come up to me, and I've been up in close people who, like, grab my arse, and I've had people, like, say things to me like, it's okay, babe, I like big girls, or damn girl, and it's disgusting. And like on the outside, like I say, my friend Lucy likes jokes like, oh, you always like all the attention, but she doesn't see that sort of side of it. And it's not nice. It's okay. The thing that really pisses me off is, it said to a lot of people, it's okay, I like big girls. It's okay, I like big girls. So nobody wants to be fancied because they're fat. Nobody wants to be fancied in spite of being fat. So what you're saying is that the only reason, like, it's okay for me to be deemed attracted by you because you like it. That's disgusting. So yeah, and it's not okay to be catcalled because you're fat, and because of this and because of that and whatever. And I've had negative responses from men when I've responded to them, being like, who the fuck do you think you are? Because they assume that I will be very grateful because as a big woman, I obviously don't get that attention. But the joke is, because there are so many men that think this way, I actually get a lot of attention. So, whatever. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of talk about, I've rambled for about 20 minutes now, I think I should probably shut up. So, yeah, I just basically want to talk about how it sort of kind of feels to be somebody in big skin. And I know there will be people that will comment on this video saying that I'm fat and I should just like sort of deal with it, and if I don't want to have these comments, that I shouldn't be fat or whatever. But like I say, it's hard enough being somebody in a big body anyway. The funniest thing is that I was thin before, and I was more unhappy with the way I looked then than I am now. I'm more confident in myself now. And the joke is that if I didn't, obviously there was things that happened in my life, but if there were people in the media that looked more like me, if there was things around me that made me feel like I was okay to be sort of whatever the size that I was, then I wouldn't have got to the size in the first place. It's not okay to comment on somebody's life if you don't know their story. It's not okay to say that it's really, we should sympathise with somebody who has an eating disorder, who is thin, but not somebody who has an eating disorder who's fat. It's not okay. Again, I am not advocating saying to the people that are going to comment below or whatever that I think it's okay to be massively overweight and massively unhealthy. I'm not saying that at all. If you're overweight and you're healthy and you can get about, then that's fine, because people can be thin and be unhealthy as well. I'm not saying it's okay. I'm also not saying it's okay to be really thin and unhealthy either, because it's not. What I'm saying is because of somebody's size, it does not give you the right to comment on them, on how they live their life, because you don't know their story, and it's not helpful to people. Fat people don't need to be told that, fat, we know. I know that I'm fat. I'm fully aware of that. I don't need you to hear you whisper in the background, or laugh to your mates, or make it a joke about whatever. That's not cool. That's not okay. Yeah, I'm getting a little bit emotional talking about this and stuff. But again, women don't need to be validated by their size or by their worth. People don't need to be validated by their size. That's not their worth. If I, lose weight, and people start telling me things like transformation, glow up or whatever, all this stuff and whatever, then I don't really want to hear that kind of shit, because I am the same person, and just because I lose weight doesn't mean that I'm any different in that sort of thing. So yeah, don't want to, the glow up transformation sort of thing, that really winds me up in terms of that. So again, I'm gonna keep rambling about this. There's a lot more to, obviously, eating disorders and, you know, feeling, you know, depressed because of fat or whatever, that sort of thing. But like I say, it's not the be all and end all of somebody's depression as well. Like I say, I'm not depressed because I was fat. I was depressed and then I became fat. So the reason I'm fat is because of my depression. And that's another side of things that people don't see either. I wasn't just some fat girl that was fat her whole life and was picked on massively in school because she was fat, because that wasn't the case. I was thin in school. And like I say, I lacked even more confidence back then than I do now. So yeah, so just think before you speak, basically, guys. I keep saying this, that everybody needs to be a bit more kind. If anybody wants to talk to me and have a discussion with me about this, if they completely disagree with me, then that's absolutely fine. I'm happy to have an open discussion about this. If anybody wants to, you know, talk about this a little bit more in terms of, you know, learning a little bit more, or they feel like they've learned something and it's helped them or whatever, then feel free to drop me a message and such. I will not apologise for being fat, because that's just who I am, and I can change that, and I will. You know, I am obviously, I am not happy in the size that I am now, and I will obviously, you know, make the changes to do that for at the moment. But at the same time, I'm allowed to be confident in, you know, if I put on a dress and I feel like I look okay, I'm allowed to be confident. I'm allowed to feel sexy. I'm allowed to feel attractive whilst I am still big. Another thing before before I just sign off as well is stop telling fat friends when they want to lose weight that they're great. Oh, stop telling fat friends when they say they want to lose weight. Oh, but you're so curvy. You're so curvaceous. Please stop telling them that, because it kind of diminishes saying that they're only gonna sort of be you know, deemed attractive because they're curvy and they're going to lose all that sort of thing, whatever. And also, if you're thin and you're saying that to somebody, then you say that because you often often the same friends will say, oh, but you're so curvaceous and will be the ones that in the mirror, well, they're thin, saying that they're fat. So if they think they're fat, then they definitely think you're fat. So yeah, that's I'm just gonna, it's half an hour of me rambling now. I'm gonna sign off. I will, as always, leave numbers of people that you want to talk to. If any of this sort of resonated with yourself there and you want to have a chat with me, please feel free. But I'm not a professional, as I always say. I don't know how to diagnose you. I know of all the you know, things that I deal with mental health wise, anxiety, depression, eating disorders. Eating disorders is the thing I know least about, so I'm happy to talk to you about it and about my experiences and that'll help you and stuff, but I definitely would not know how to diagnose anybody with this. So I will always leave numbers if you need professional help, you know, there, and so always feel free, like I say, to please like, subscribe, comment below if you like this content. If you don't like this content, please let me know. Like I say, if you want to have a conversation about it, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to apologise for my opinions, because those are my opinions. This is my Desa Diaries, and you don't have to agree with everything I say. But yeah, it's all love, guys, it's all love. Like, subscribe. There is also the blog as well, if you want to read my ramblings rather than watch me or listen to me. I am going to write a little bit more about sort of my binging and such, just because I find it a bit easy for me to talk about these things with the written word, just because I feel a bit more confident that way, because I do get a little bit embarrassed, and as you can see, I was kind of getting a little bit more emotional during this video. I'm going to sign off now, you guys have a good day, and remember, as always, it may be cliche, but it is okay not to be okay. You have a good day, guys.